Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Aimee here. Today we're going to be talking about what I plan on reading in February. Never know how it's going to go. You never know what I'm going to be feeling. Sometimes I'm a mood reader, sometimes I'm not. It just depends. So we just go with the flow, but I always like to have a reference to what I'm kind of feeling at the moment when I pick these books out. So I always pick out about 8 books for myself for each month, just so I'm not, think overwhelmed. Because if I see this list and it's more than even 10 books, I start freaking out thinking I'm never gonna finish this many books. And I usually end up yes and sometimes no. But anyway, besides the point, let's get into the books that I think I'm feeling for the month of February. So I chose 2 books from my Kindle Unlimited list that I keep on Amazon. So the first book I'm going to talk about is actually the second book in a series. I'm currently actually reading the first book. I am loving it. I do have 1 or 2 issues with it, but that's besides the point. I am still just loving the whole flow of the book. Anyway, we'll get to that book in my January wrap up, but I'm going to continue the series in February just because I don't know how the first book is going to end, but I know I'm going to want more. I just feel it. So the second book, it's the Lost Boys series. This is book 2. This is If There's a Way. The first book I'm currently reading is called When There's a Wheel. So this second book is actually just the continuation of Will and Waylon's story. So I don't want to get too much into it because I'm currently reading the first one and I don't know where it's going, although I know that it's killing me because it's such a slow burn and I'm like 50%, a little over 50% of the way done, and like I'm getting frustrated. But that's a good thing about a book. If it doesn't give you the feels, then and it does say, in order to understand the contents of this book, you must read Where There's a Wheel first. This is the conclusion of Will and Waylon's story. This duet deals with heavy topics that may be triggering for some readers. So yes, we do have alcohol abuse, we have drug abuse, there is suicide as well. In the first book, as of right now, we are dealing with someone that has went missing a couple years back, and I'm really hoping that we get more on this topic. I hope it's not just in the background of the story. I'm really curious about this part of the story because the case just closed. Nobody was ever found. So there's nothing to go on about this missing person. A character that meant a lot to some of the characters that we're following along with in this series. So yeah, it's the relationship between Will and Waylon. They were best friends as young boys at the age of 10 and 11. Will is gay. Waylon, he hasn't come out the closet and he hasn't really said anything about, his feelings towards men. He might have said something like, I've always noticed men, but I've always been with girls, but I've never felt anything for any of them except for what he had felt for Will when they were young boys. And an incident happened between them that Will knew he was feeling, but he didn't understand those feelings until, of course, he got older and then he realized he was gay. But Waylon has a different backstory. I had a little bit of a rough childhood, so there is also child abuse in here. So yeah, I think that's what his mind is holding him back, thinking that he cannot be different. He cannot like boys, otherwise things will happen. Not good things will happen. So yeah, so there's lots of tension and just built up anger, and I really think that's where we're going with Waylon. He's a really angry person, even as a 10 and 11-year-old boy. As we go back and we get a little bit of a timeline for when they were young boys and we follow their friendship, gradually getting to what happened and why they have not been friends in so many years. Will has actually left I think his parents took him away from wherever they were at and moved him to, or they all moved to like a more of a city part of town. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just kind of like I'm over a little bit over 50% into the book, and I still feel like I don't have any answers, but we're gradually slowly getting there, and it's just killing me, but I love it so much. Next up we have Rookie Move. This is by Neb Wilder and Riley Hart. Such a good duo. I've never read anything by them together. I've read them separately and absolutely love them. So I'm anxious to see what they can do as a duo writing team, I guess is what the word I'm looking for. So yes, this is actually the first book in the Playing for Keeps series. This came out sometime last year, and I've been having it on my Kindle, and I just never read it. We're gonna read it in the month of February, and it was giving me like, I was kind of craving the whole like gay sports relationships. I don't know, I was kind of craving it. So that's what this is. It deals with the NFL. It says, falling for a teammate who also happens to be your brother's best friend. So we have McRae. We'll be following along with McRae and Ramsey. So this is McRae. McRae has had a crush on his brother's best friend since the moment he laid eyes on him 4 years ago. Warner Ramsey is 225 pounds of pure hotness, a media darling, and one of the best NFL quarterbacks in the league. It was easy to keep my crush under control when I was in college. Now we play for the same team, and every time he talks smack, I want to shut him up with my mouth. But I've got other things I should be focusing on, like stepping out of my brother's shadow. Besides, Ramsey's straight. Then Ramsey says, I've never tapped into my bisexuality. Never told anyone except my best friend that I'm bi. All I want is to play football and not draw media attention like my dad, who got ousted from the league. Garrett McRae is my biggest temptation. He's gotten under my skin for years. I'm supposed to be looking out for him, not thinking about him naked, and definitely not the kiss we shared. It was stupid and not like me, but God, it was hot. We're teammates, the $1 million contract on the line, and yet is a little experimentation really so bad? Rookie Move is a low-angst, high-heat sports romance in the Playing for Keeps series. Then I chose Lavender House. This is by Lev A.C. Rawson. This is actually the same author that wrote Camp, which I absolutely love that book. It's a YA sort of male-male romance. So yeah, I've been really looking forward to this one when it came out. I think it came out back in October. But anyway, I'm going to be buddy reading this with my friend Ashley, so I'm really excited to get to this one. I know it does have queer representation in it, but I don't think it's a romance. I think it's more of like a historical type of maybe mystery thriller. I'm not sure. Maybe it's paranormal in it. So I think this actually takes place in 1952. So it looks like we have a mysterious death of the owner of this Lavender House. They have like the soap franchise, or soap empire is what it says, and it looks like maybe a detective of some sort, or maybe it just said, no, San Francisco police. So this woman's widow hires someone to uncover the truth behind her wife's mysterious death. So yeah, so I guess we have like a police investigation. There's a mystery of how this owner of Lavender House has died. I don't know. Honestly, the only reason I got this book was because one, it's beautiful, and two, the author, because I loved Camp. So we'll see how this pairs to, well, I don't think it's gonna compare to Camp because they're totally different stories, but I love the writing style in Camp, so we'll see how this one goes. And since I've recently talked about the first book in this series, this is One of Us Is Next by Karen McManus. The first book in the series is One of Us is Lying, which I really enjoyed reading last year. It's a YA type of mystery thriller. This one I think may be a little bit different. I don't think it continues with the story of the same group of kids. I'm not going to read too much into it in case you have not read One of Us is Lying, but we do have someone that dies at the very beginning of it. His name is Simon. So it says, a ton of copycat gossip apps have popped up since Simon died. Simon, in the first book, he invented this sort of gossip app where he wrote gossip about the people, a lot of the kids in school. So in the first book, a lot of these kids that he has written about did have some motive because he has revealed some secrets. So it continues to say, this time it's not an app, it's a game, truth or dare. Phoebe's the first target. If you choose not to play, it's a truth, and hers is dark. Then comes Maeve, and she should know better. Always choose the dare. By the time Knox is about to be tagged, things have gotten dangerous. The dares have become deadly, and if Maeve learned anything from Brawwyn last year, it's that you can't count on the police for help or protection. Simon's gone, but someone's determined to keep his legacy at Bayview High alive, and this time there's a whole new set of rules. So yeah, we have a little bit of a different story, but it does, in the first part of the synopsis does kind of give away part of the first book, so I didn't want to read too much into that. But yeah, same high school, we just have a group of different kids and a different little scenario happening. So I'm excited. And then also, this is Falling by TJ Newman. This came out sometime last year, and I've never read it. I've heard good things about it, and just recently I saw that this author is coming out with another book called Drowning, and they did a it was on Instagram. They did like a reel, like almost like a movie reel. I thought it was a movie at first, and I was like, oh, I gotta write this down. I want to watch this. But it's like a trailer for the book. The book is called Drowning, where an airplane dives into the ocean and goes down, and there's people in it, and it just looked really good. So I was like, I need to read this book because I've heard good things about it, and that book looks really good. So that's why this is happening. And I believe this author is an ex-pilot. Am I thinking correctly? Oh, she was a flight attendant. It says a former bookseller turned flight attendant, worked for Virgin America and Alaska Airlines from 2011 to 2021. She wrote much of Falling on across-country red-eye flights while her passengers were asleep. She lives in Phoenix, Arizona, and this is her first novel. How cool is that? So yeah, it says, you just boarded a flight to New York. There are 143 other passengers on board. What you don't know is that 30 minutes before the flight, your pilot's family was kidnapped. For his family to live, everyone on your plane must die. The only way the family will survive is if the pilot follows his orders and crashes the plane. Enjoy the flight. Sounds really good. I'm excited to dive into this one. Let me know in the comments if you've read this one and your thoughts without spoilers. I'm excited. Also very excited about this one. I've been wanting to pick this one up. This is Stay Awake by Megan Golden. Once again, heard so many good things about this book, and I loved The Night Swim so much. So I can't wait to dive into this one. A murder she doesn't remember committing, a killer she doesn't remember meeting. Memory can be deadly. A complex thriller that unfolds at breakneck speed. Stay Awake will keep you up all night. I don't know if I really want to read much on the synopsis. Sorry, my phone just got a text message. It says Liv Reese wakes up in the back of a taxi with no idea where she is or how she got there. When she's dropped off at her brownstone, a stranger answers the door. A stranger who claims to live in her apartment. She reaches for her phone to call for help, only to discover it's missing. In its place is a blood-stained knife. Her hands are covered in scribbled messages like graffiti on her skin. Stay awake. 2 years ago, Liv was thriving as a successful writer for a trendy magazine. Now she's lost and disoriented in a New York City that looks nothing like where she remembers, or what she remembers. I'm not gonna read anymore. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited about this one. And also, I don't know why it's taken me so long to get to this one. This is the second book in C. Travis Rice's Male Romance series, Sapphire Cove. This is Sapphire Spring. I read Sapphire Sunset. Yes, Sapphire Sunset. It's one of my favorite male romances of the year. And Christopher Rice himself narrates it. So once again, I will be listening to this book. But yeah, we are following two different characters in this book, but we're still going to be, it's going to still revolve around the whole hotel, the Sapphire Cove Hotel. This time we will be following Nasser. We met him previously. I think he's good friends with Connor in our first book. It says Nasser has never met a problem a good spending plan couldn't fix, but working as the chief accountant for his best friend's resort isn't turning out to be the dream job he's hoped for. It doesn't help that his fashion designer sister is planning an event that just might bring Sapphire Cove crashing down all around them. When the wild party unexpectedly reunites him with Mason Warther, the gorgeous former jock who made his high school experience a living hell, things go from bad to seductive. The former Golden Boy's adult life is a mess, and he knows it's time to reform his hard partying ways. But for Mason, cleaning up his act means cleaning up his prior misdeeds, and he plans to start with Nasser by submitting to whatever the man demands of him to make things right. The offer ignites an anti-consuming passion both men have denied for years, but can they confront their painful past without losing each other in the process? Ooh, I love that. I love that. So we had like possibly some bullying back in high school, and now our jock, our bullier, wants to make amends with our other character. I can't wait to get into this one. And then lastly, I chose Cross Her Heart by Sarah Penborough. When I realized that I had only read those two books by this author and I had this on my shelf, like I completely forgot about it. It's hidden somewhere in the back of the shelf. And as I was going through my books to see what I was feeling, because I'm trying to just focus on this TBR shelf, y'all. It's getting bad. And I have some new books that I need to do a book haul on. Like, I can't stop. It's a problem. Anyway, so we have Cross Her Heart. Even though I have heard that this isn't Sarah Penborough's best work, we're going to give it a go and see what we think. It said promises are meant to be broken. So we have a psychological thriller about a dedicated single mom, her restless teenage daughter, and her troubled friends, about the secrets they hide and the past they can't escape. Lisa lives a very quiet life. A single mother nearing 40, she values her privacy and devotes herself to raising her 16-year-old daughter, Ava. Wary of men, Lisa doesn't speak of her past or Ava's absent father. Her best friend and co-worker, Marilyn, wishes she would open up more and maybe finally go on a date, especially with a sexy new client who's obviously keen, but maybe Marilyn shouldn't be handing out dating advice given her own problems. Ava, meanwhile, is getting tired of her overprotective mother. She wants to live like a normal teenager, chill with friends, go to swim practice, study for exams, have a boyfriend. Her mom would freak if she knew that Ava's already got someone special, someone exciting and mysterious who makes her feel sophisticated and wanted. Lisa has spent a long time looking over her shoulder, but lately she's been especially uneasy. Just when she starts to let her guard down, small things from the past begin to intrude upon her carefully constructed life, feeding her anxiety. I'm not going to read anymore. It does go on to say Cross Her Heart is a masterful tale of obsession, intrigue, and suspense that will leave you reeling. I need to wear my glasses. Anyway, so we'll see. Like I said, I've heard this isn't her best work. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read this one by Sarah Pinborough. No spoilers, just what you thought, yay or nay. But we're gonna give it a go here and see how I feel about it. Okay, those are the 8 books that I picked for myself for the month of February. Like I said in the beginning, we'll see how it goes. You never know what the month is gonna bring. But I'm really excited about all these books that I picked for this month. So I have a feeling I'm gonna stay on the right track. But anyway, as always, thank y'all so much for watching. Hope y'all are all doing well out there. Having a great 2023 so far. Hugs from me all around y'all, and I'll see y'all very soon in another video. Bye y'all.